Last fall, I took the time and effort and spent the money to dethatch, aerate, and overseed my lawn. I put down plenty of fertilizer, and now I've got really thick turf that looks like a golf course. Since I did that last year, this year I'm not going to dethatch, aerate, or overseed. I'm not doing any of that stuff, and you probably don't have to either if you have a well-established lawn. There are, however, a few things you want to make sure that you do because the fall is the ideal time to push your grass and get it as healthy as possible going into the winter. Odds are good you've probably seen videos of people going out and dethatching their lawn and pulling up tons of dead material and what looks like a bunch of thatch. The reality of the situation is the majority of the time, those are just dormant leaf blades and things that would actually come back with the appropriate water and fertilizer. So while it's tempting if your lawn is kind of brown, if you have cool season grass to go and rip everything out, if you have a pretty well-established thick lawn, you don't really need to aerate and dethatch every year. You only need to do that about every 2 or 3 years. Today I'm going to put down my first application of fertilizer for the fall. I haven't put anything down for a while, and it's time to really start pushing the growth of the grass. It means you're going to have to mow a little bit more, but when you do that in the fall and you really push it, I'm going to put down a fast-acting nitrogen today. Everything starts to tiller, all those plants widen out, the grass gets super thick, and you get a really nice green carpet. So I'm going to put down a fast-acting nitrogen, one of my favorite fertilizers. Before I do that, I'm going to get a mow in the backyard, so let's go. Look at those stripes. Man, I love this time of year. Everything really fills in and grows nicely. If you've got warm season grass and you're thinking about dethatching or overseeding, I would highly recommend against doing that because of your type of grass that you have with the shorter amount of sunlight we're getting every day and the temperatures coming down. That combination together is going to decrease the strength of your grass. It's not going to grow as vigorously, and you want to make sure that you dethatch and do that stuff when your grass is really growing and when it's at its strongest. So for a warm season grass, you want to do that at the beginning of the summertime when everything starts to pick up, those soil temperatures warm up, and that's the time that you would want to do that. All right, so what I'm using today is my favorite fast-acting nitrogen granular fertilizer, and that's Scott's Turf Builder Green Max. And the reason I like this so much, it's 27% nitrogen. It gives you that fast-acting nitrogen to get your grass really thriving in the fall. And also it's got 5% iron. That iron is what makes your grass nice and dark green. So that's one of the reasons I really like this. I've used this product for years. I have no affiliation with Scott's whatsoever, but I really like this stuff. It's probably my favorite go-to fast-acting nitrogen. I'm gonna put that down today, and the process I'm going through right now is just really hitting my lawn with a lot of nitrogen, specifically a ½ pound of nitrogen per 1,000 square feet, and I'm gonna do that every 2 weeks. Scott's Green Max is 27% nitrogen, so I'll round down a little bit to 25. So to get that ½ pound of nitrogen per 1,000 square feet, I need about 2 pounds of product per 1,000 square feet. And since I have 3,000 square feet back here, I'll measure out 6 pounds of that fertilizer, and that's what I'm gonna put down today. To make sure I'm getting exactly the amount that I need, I'm gonna measure this out with my kitchen scale. So we set this on, press this to cancel it out. Now I'm gonna pour in 6 pounds of my product. All right, so that's right at about 6 pounds, a little bit over. I've got a few different spreaders, but the one I always seem to go back to is this, and this is probably one of the most popular spreaders out there. However, it's got one flaw to it, and that's that the wheels are hollow on the inside, so if you fertilize when your grass is wet, those prills of fertilizer can get stuck to the inside of your wheels. So I would recommend if you have this fertilizer spreader, wait to use it until your grass is dried. That way those prills of fertilizer don't get stuck to the inside of the wheels, and that can leave striping in your lawn where you're getting excess fertilizer where you don't really want it. So I've mowed, I've let everything dry out a little bit. Now I'm gonna put down my 6 pounds of Scott's Green Max in my fertilizer. I like to start out by doing an edge pass all the way around. That's another nice thing about this spreader. It's got the edge guard, so you're not shooting fertilizer into your plants or your flower beds, or in my case, into the water. The last thing I recommend doing if you're going for that ½ pound of nitrogen is don't follow what the bag says when it comes to the spreader setting. The setting that comes on the bag is going to give you more than the recommended amount that we have right here. So what I want to do is turn that down just a little bit. So that recommends 3 1/4. So I'm going to put this at about 2 3/4 so that fertilizer comes out a little bit slower, since I'm only trying to put down a ½ pound of nitrogen per 1,000 square feet. So about 2 3/4 where I'm going to go. I'll start with my outside pass and then I'll go from there. All right, I got my fertilizer all spread. With synthetic fertilizer like that that's fast-acting nitrogen, it's really important that you water that in. So don't wait for a hot day where you've got no rain coming and put out your fertilizer if it's synthetic like Scott's Green Max, because it will burn your lawn. So make sure that you water that in. It's recommended about a ½ inch of water going down on that. While it's not necessary for everybody to dethatch, aerate, and overseed, if you can follow these simple steps of fertilizing, trying to get that 3 pounds of nitrogen per 1,000 square feet throughout the fall, stay on top of watering, make sure you get that 1 inch of water per week spread out to about 3 waterings. And lastly, cutting the grass regularly. If you can do those 3 things, you're gonna get awesome results. Thanks so much for watching this video. I appreciate it, and I'll see you next time.